Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, fans and frenemies. Today we are drawing Vriska from Homestuck. I know this is a bit like, um, kind of, 2010 of me, I guess. I kind of realized the other day that I've never actually drawn, like, a Homestuck character on my Like, I don't have anything Homestuck on my YouTube, and I thought, hey, I can get away with drawing a Vriska. So shout out to Tumblr user Vriska. This is for you. Yeah, so Homestuck is like a webcomic. If you don't know what it is, most people do, but there's a lot of people on the internet who wasn't reading the webcomics in 2010, or maybe you just don't have a Twitter. But Homestuck was kind of a big deal. It's had like a big influence on like a lot of things. My oven's yelling at me about my corn dogs. Yeah, so Vriska is like I was really into Homestuck back in the day, like at its peak of popularity. I didn't, like most people, I started reading around when Act 5 came, like Act 6, whatever. When the Trolls happened, I started reading after the Trolls started. So I did show up at the same time as everybody else. I definitely wasn't on the train early for this one, but I remember being on the Homestuck forums and everything, like back in the day when we had the Vriska quarantine threads. Because Vriska is such like a controversial character that people were constantly arguing about either Vriska's motivations, Vriska's actions, just Vriska in general. So they had to have like a separate thread on the forums for any discussion of Vriska, because otherwise every discussion would just devolve into talking about Vriska. So, it went on for probably hundreds, I think. I don't know, at least dozens. There were so many threads. It just went on forever. All discussion was Vriska all the time. So, if I draw a Homestuck character, it's going to have to be Vriska. I wouldn't even say she's my favorite character. I love Vriska, don't get me wrong. I think she's a fun, awesome character. Like, whether or not Vriska's a good person is an entirely different discussion from whether or not Vriska is a good character. And that's a difficult question to answer, but is Vriska a good character? Yes, she is. The fact that you can talk about Vriska for hundreds of threads makes her, I think, just point blank a good character. People like talking about Vriska. But I would say my favorite Homestuck character is actually probably Dirk. I know that people are going to yell at me for that, but I like Dirk. I don't know what to say. I just really like Dirk. I remember being like a teenager and reading through Homestuck. I remember it took me 3 days to catch up on Homestuck, and I definitely skimmed a lot at the time. I had to go back and reread a bunch of pieces, but it took me 3 days, and I didn't sleep during those 3 days. When I started, I was like, oh, this is whatever, and then I came back, I read I don't know, 20 pages or something, and I got bored, and then I came back to it a few weeks later, and something just clicked, and I just didn't stop reading for the next 3 days. It was a whole weekend, and I was I don't know, 15, 16. I just didn't sleep. I just read Homestuck for days. And then I came out of my Homestuck days I have seen the truth, mother. I know, baby girl. It was really good though. I'm glad that I was reading it when there were still regular updates. I actually remember specifically not Make Her Pay. I think it was the one where no, maybe it was Make Her Pay. Yeah, I think it was Make Her Pay came out 3 days after I had started reading, so it was ooh, yay, we're really getting into it. Or maybe it was the one where she killed Tavros. No, it was way before that. Hard to say. In any case, it's been a long time. I think at the time, Aradia was definitely my favorite. I really liked Aradia. And, but man, I know it's really a basic bitch kind of a thing to be yeah, I like the trolls, but yeah, I mean, I like the trolls. I liked the human kids, but not nearly as much as the troll stuff. The alien drama was just very fun, and all the characters were kind of terrible people, and that was kind of fun, and the aesthetic and everything. I have so much old Homestuck fan art. If you go back through my DeviantArt, half a decade, you'll find so much just bad. And I don't even mean bad as in oh, this is so cringy now, or oh, I can't believe I liked this character. It's just bad art. It's just really not very good. Though I did really like Aridin for some reason back in the day, so I have like some Aridin fan art. None of it's like, oh, Aridin did nothing wrong. I definitely liked him as a villain. I was like, oh, Aridin sucks, but I like him for some reason. I don't know. So I've got that lying around. I've got a huge piece with a Radiant Solux. It's like super long, like a big long comic thing. Um, oh gosh, just back in the day, it was so weird. Like all the forums and everything. It's so intensely nostalgic to think about now. I cannot believe that Homestuck's still sort of going. Like I know Homestuck 2 is a thing. I've not read it. I've not been reading it. I mean, I remember when Act 7 came out and it was like, I mean, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the ending that I was hoping for. I enjoyed the comic with its limited visuals but really interesting story. So the ending being really awesome visuals but very confusing and very quick story was sort of like not what I read Homestuck for and not what I wanted from my ending. So it really didn't resonate very much with me, unfortunately. So Homestuck 2, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I've seen some pictures of things that look absolutely wild, and I'm like, that's crazy, okay, but I haven't been reading it. I don't even know if it's any good. I haven't had anybody recommend it to me, so I don't think anybody I know is reading it. But I know it exists. I also, like, I backed the Homestuck Kickstarter back in 2012. God, I don't know. Like, I backed it, so I have a copy of, like, the game, and I've never played it. I don't think I even redeemed it. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But I definitely, like, I paid, and then years went by, and by the time it finally came out, I was like, that's a lot of work to play the whole game. I don't really want to play it. Like, oh. I mean, I don't feel bad about buying it, because it was only, like, I don't know, $12 to get the digital copy, so I don't feel bad about it, and I think I'm glad that it got made, and I think it was a good endeavor and all that, like, and all of the shenanigans that happened with it being worked on weren't necessarily Hussey's fault or anything, but, I mean, one day, maybe I'll play it. I didn't even talk about Vriska at all in this. I guess the Vriska quarantine thread got me, and you'll have to go find one to hear my thoughts on Vriska in the darkness, but there she is, a nice lineless Vriska. Thank you for listening. Later.